5 verbal tricks to make an aggressive person say sorry. What if you could make an angry, defensive, even downright disrespectful person pause, reflect, and actually apologize? Not by overpowering them, not by pleasing them, but by using calm, subtle verbal moves that catch their mind off guard. Watch till the end, and I'll show you the one sentence that even narcissists can't argue with. 1. The mirror and pause technique. Most aggressive people aren't listening. They're not talking to understand, they're talking to dominate. But the moment you calmly reflect their own words back to them, something strange happens. They start to hear themselves clearly. You say, "So, you're saying I never do anything right?" Then you stop. No defense. No sarcasm. Just stillness. That silence makes their own anger feel awkward. It creates a psychological pressure point. And many times, it forces them to either dial it back, or admit they went too far. Mirroring and silence together force reflection. It's like holding up a verbal mirror, and most people don't like how they sound in it. This move doesn't humiliate. It awakens. 2. The disarming truth statement. Anger expects resistance. That's the fuel. But truth delivered with calm confidence? That's kryptonite. You say, "You know what? I'd probably feel exactly like you if I believed what you think I did." Here's why that works. It validates their emotion without validating their version of events. It removes ego from the equation. And most importantly, it shows them you're not their enemy, you're just not their echo either. It subtly tells them, "I hear you, but there's more to this story." And when people feel heard without being fed, the aggression often fades. The apology? It may not come instantly, but you've just planted the seed. 3. The "that's interesting" neutralizer. This is one of the simplest and most unexpected power moves you can use in a tense moment. You say, "That's interesting." That's it. You're not denying, agreeing, attacking, or defending. You're just observing. And guess what? That makes them stop and think. It disarms because it interrupts their emotional rhythm. Most aggressive people are emotionally flooding. You interrupt that flood with calm curiosity. The beauty of "that's interesting" is in what it doesn't do. It doesn't escalate. It doesn't collapse. It doesn't feed the fire. It just pauses the pattern. And when the pattern breaks, the mind resets. That's when self-awareness and apologies start to sneak in. Give them a ladder down. Sometimes people explode and then feel trapped. They've said too much. They've raised their voice. They've gone too far. Now their pride won't let them climb down unless someone hands them a ladder. You say, "Look, I know that probably came out harsher than you meant." You want to take a second and reset. You're giving them something powerful. A way out. A second chance. A door to walk through without losing face. And what happens? They often take it. Because the emotional peak has passed, and now all they want is a way back to calm without being humiliated. They might not say sorry immediately, but guess what? That moment of reset usually leads to a more grounded conversation, and that apology shows up right after the pride walks out. 5. The time travel reflection line. There are some people, maybe even narcissists, who won't listen to reason, empathy, or logic in the heat of the moment. For them, you don't fight. You time travel their mind. You say, "I'm not going to argue with you, but just think about how you'll feel about this conversation tomorrow." That single sentence breaks the emotional spell. What? Because it does something powerful. It shifts their perspective from now to later. In the now, emotions are king. But in the tomorrow, regret creeps in. Guilt wakes up. And ego finally takes a breath. This line doesn't demand an apology. It makes the person create it themselves, internally. Even the most defensive people often reach back out later and say, "Hey, I thought about it. I'm sorry." Final thoughts. Let's recap what you've just learned. 1. Mirror and pause, reflect their words and let silence do the heavy lifting. 2. Disarming truth statement, empathize with their emotion, not their belief. 3. That's interesting, interrupt their emotional pattern without resistance. 4. Ladder down, give them a dignified exit from their own meltdown. 5. Time travel line, make them think beyond the heat of the moment. These are more than verbal tricks. They are power moves for people who value peace without surrendering self-respect. And that's what being 10% strong is about. You don't need to yell to be heard. You don't need to shrink to stay safe. You need to master your energy so you can control the room. Master your energy. Control the room. Stay 10% strong.